प्रथमं सद्गुरुं वन्दे श्रीकृष्णं तदनन्तरं गुरुः पापात्मनां त्राता श्रीकृष्णस्त्वमलात्मना वन्दे नवघनश्यामं पीतकौशेय वाससं सानन्दं सुन्दरं शुद्धं श्रीकृष्णं प्रकृतेः परम् नमः कमलनाभाय नमः कमलमालिने नमः कमलपादाय नमस्ते कमलेक्षण यो ब्रह्माणं विदधाति पूर्वं यो वै वेदांश्च प्रहिणोति तस्मै तग्वं हा देवमात्मबुद्धिप्रकाशं मुमुक्षुर्वै शरणमहं प्रपद्ये। Dear devotees of God, let's chant for a few minutes. Gopi Jan Vallabh Shyam, Radhe Raman Shyam. We worship Sri Krishna, who is the beloved of the gopis, and the one who delights the heart of Sri Radharani. Gopi Jan Vallabh Shyam, Radhe Raman Shyam, Vallabh Shyam,
Radhe Raman Shyam,
Gopi Jan Vallabh Shyam, Radhe Raman Shyam,
Gopi Jan Vallabh Shyam, Radhe Raman Shyam,
Radhe Raman 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 Shyam.
Everyone sing and clap, please. Play the dholak.
Raman Shyam,
Gopi Jan Vallabh Shyam, Radhe 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 Raman
वल्लभ श्याम राधे रमण श्याम
गोपी जन वल्लभ श्याम राधे रमण श्याम
गोपी जन वल्लभ श्याम राधे रमण श्याम
गोपी जन वल्लभ श्याम राधे रमण श्याम
राधे रमण 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 श्याम राधे रमण श्याम
गोपी जन वल्लभ 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 श्याम राधे रमण श्याम
बोलिए वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय। श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। Devotional listeners, now I humbly request your full attention. When we hear the word gopi, our heads bow down in reverence and in devotion. Why? Because the gopis represent a love that is the highest for Sri Krishna. The highest love for Sri Krishna is in the gopis' hearts. The gopis represent selfless love. They represent exclusive love, nishkam prem and ananya prem. The gopis are role models for us. The greatest teachers of devotion, the greatest acharyas, divine teachers of devotion, pay homage to the gopis, such as sage Narad. He says in his most excellent scripture, Narad Bhakti Darshan, Yatha Braj Gopika Nam. He honors the gopis by mentioning them that they represent the highest love, that Sri Krishna should be loved like the gopis love him. The gopis represent a love which is complete, for they love Sri Krishna as the beloved. And whenever they desire, they go into the different moods, they go into different bhav. They are free to love him as their child, as their best friend, as their Lord and Master. Not only as their beloved. All relationships are open to them. This is why Jagat Guru Uttam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj, our dearest Shri Maharaji, has talked so much about Gopi Prem. He has extolled the virtues of the gopis, and he has told the entire world that true love is the love that the gopis have for Sri Krishna. These gopis sometimes do not have an opportunity to meet with their beloved. There were married gopis and then there were unmarried gopis. The married gopis did not have an opportunity very often to have the darshan of their beloved. They didn't have an opportunity very often to meet with him by the Yamuna River or in the woods or in the Kunj, in the groves, flowery groves of Vrindavan. So these married gopis, their love grew so intense that they say, Pran bhaye kanhamaye, kanha bhaye pranamaye. Hiye te na jani pare pran hai ki kan hai. Their love reached such a high intensity that these gopis are saying, when I look at Kanha, Kanhaiya, I think, is it Kanhaiya or is it me? Is it my pran? Is it myself? Is it my soul? And when I look at myself, I think, is it me or is it Kanhaiya? There is no distance. There is such proximity, such closeness, that there is not even a tiny bit of distance between them. All distance has been removed, and all hesitation has been removed, all restrictions have been removed, and there are only privileges. They who limit themselves to loving Sri Krishna as the Lord and Master, they're in Dasya Bhav, and there are a lot of restrictions for them. Just as a servant has many restrictions in this world, many restrictions are imposed upon the servant. In the same way, when you love Sri Krishna as a servant and you do not go any further than that, then there are many restrictions. But when a devotee goes further to Sakhya Bhav, then restrictions become smaller and privileges grow. Just like in the world, there are two friends, they meet, and they slap one another on the back. It wasn't always like that. They were strangers once, and they met through a mutual friend, and they were calling each other the pronoun aap. Aap kahan rehte hain? A very formal you, respectful you, aap. But in time, they became more friendly, and in time, they started calling each other tum. Are tum kahan the yaar? Main wahan gaya tha, tum wahan the nahi, kahan the? Tum. They go down to, from aap to tum. And eventually, when they become very good friends, then all formalities are erased, and they call each other tu. Tu. Very familiar. No formality, no respect, nothing. Just we are equals, and there is no formality. But still, there are restrictions placed on the friend. Because if two friends are talking, they're best friends, and one of them, the one whose house they're both sitting in, his mother comes in with a grave concern on her face. There's something on her mind, and her son reads her face and says to his friend, let's catch up later. I need to talk to my mother. So the friend is sent away because the mother is more important. So from Dasya, we go to Sakhya, we then go to Vatsalya. We love him, those who love Sri Krishna as a child. For them, even further restrictions are removed, and there are more privileges than there were before. But still, there is a distance. And that distance is removed for the one who enters Madhurya Bhav. He enters the lover-beloved relationship with Sri Krishna. He regards Sri Krishna as a beloved, and so for such a devotee, there are no restrictions. The friend has a right, or rather, let's start with the servant. The servant has a right to enter the master's room to clean and to bring food and or whatever else. While so many people do not have this authority, they don't have the freedom, but the personal secretary or the servant can go in without asking. But there are many restrictions. And when there is a friendly relationship, there are more privileges, because now the friends, they take liberties with one another, they joke around with one another, they tease one another. But when you regard Sri Krishna as a child, then you have even more privileges. Yashoda can slap Krishna. She can slap Kanhaiya. She shows him the tiny little stick she has, and she uses it every once in a while. She's beating up on the Supreme Lord because he has made her forget who she is. He has made himself forget who he is. But look at the privileges Yashoda has, the one who loves him as her son. And that privilege is the privilege that a mother has with her child. But still, a mother is very careful. I don't want to scold him at this point, because what if he minds it? And I should not say this to my child. However, all restrictions are removed in Madhurya Bhav, and that in the lover-beloved relationship, there are no restrictions, there is no distance, only privileges. And the gopis are the most excellent example of Madhurya Bhav devotees. They feel no distance from Sri Krishna. The gopi thinks, is it me or is it Krishna? Is it Krishna or is it me? That much proximity. It is amazing. In Madhurya Bhav, however, there are three classes, and they're called Sadharani Rati, Samanjasa Rati, and Samartha Rati. Sadharani Rati means that you love Sri Krishna as your beloved, and you don't want the world. You don't want to ask him for anything worldly. You don't want even the pleasures of Swargalok. You don't want anything. You don't want even liberation. You just love him exclusively, but you are loving him for your own happiness. Please pay attention. I know my voice is very soothing, I've been told. As a joke on myself. But please don't go to sleep. Sit with a straight back, please. Thank you. And I say this jokingly, that my voice is very soothing, because I caught someone sleeping. And I said, you were sleeping. And he said, Didi ji, your voice is so soothing. I felt like my mother is singing me a lullaby. And I said, nice try, but you're in trouble. So, Sadharani Rati devotee loves Sri Krishna only, but for her own happiness. When I see him, I will be so happy. When I embrace him, I will get so much happiness. So that devotee is looking for her own happiness. And that is called selfish devotion. And this is something to be understood, selfish devotion. We tend to think that selfish devotee is the one who's asking God for something or the other. Like, I'm a selfish devotee because I go in front of Sri Krishna, I go in front of Bhagwan Sri Ram, and I say, oh Lord, Bhagwan, mujhe naukri dila do. Please give me a job. Please give me a child, a son. Please give me better health. And I'm a selfish devotee. No, sir, you're not a selfish devotee. You're only selfish. A selfish devotee, one who falls into the Sadharani Rati category of Madhurya, is someone like Kubja or Gajraj. Kubja wanted Sri Krishna to stay with her, live with her, so that she may get the happiness from him, the happiness of the beloved. And Sri Krishna obliged because she was a true devotee. Selfish, but a devotee. We are just selfish. Sri Maharaji used to say, you're not a selfish devotee. Take out the word devotee. You're just selfish. Selfish devotee is the one who is devoted to Sri Krishna, but wants his own happiness. Even that is not good. It's not bad, but it's not so good either. It's not totally wrong, but it's not so right. Because you have the higher class of Madhurya, and that is called samanjasarati. This you can say is a 50-50 relationship. Because here, the devotee thinks, I want to see him, to please him, and also so I may get happiness. I want his embrace for his happiness as well as my own. Some of the examples, one example of samanjasarati devotee are collectively the queens of Sri Krishna in Dwarika. The 16,108 queens of Sri Krishna, you can categorize them under samanjasarati, because they had this pride of being wives of Sri Krishna. Each one is thinking, he is my husband. I can see him whenever I want. There's no restriction. So I can see him whenever I want. I can be with him whenever I want. So patni bhava bhimanatvad gunadi shravanadija kvachit sambhog trishna. So Ujjwal Neelmani, a scripture called Ujjwal Neelmani says, there is abhiman, there is a slight pride of being the wife of Sri Krishna. And so there is selfishness also, that I want to make him happy, but I also want him to make me happy. I want my own happiness also. So this is better than Sadharani Rati, but not as good as Samartha Rati. Samartha Rati devotees only want the happiness of Sri Krishna. A Samartha Rati Gopi does not think, and this is inconceivable to us, but she does not even think of her own happiness. And if her own happiness comes in the way of his happiness or in the way of serving him, then she says, I don't want my own happiness. Once a gopi was fanning Sri Krishna while he was sleeping. With a hand fan, she was fanning him. And she was receiving so much happiness from doing this seva that tears came into her eyes. She started to cry a little bit. And when she started to cry, now she needed to wipe her eyes. And she thought to herself, I do not want these tears of happiness. I do not desire my own happiness, because this happiness of mine has become an obstacle in serving my beloved uninterruptedly. I had to interrupt my seva to wipe my tears. Uchchairaninda dananda maravinda vilochana. So she curses her own happiness. I don't want you, oh happiness, go away. I want to serve my beloved without any interruption. This is, as I said, inconceivable to our mind. How is it that somebody would not want their happiness? Well, that is Samartha Rati of Madhurya Bhav. These, the gopis who are Samartha Rati devotees, they are the ones who hear the sound of Krishna's flute on that magical night, and they are the only ones who participate in the Maharas, because the others don't even hear the sound of the flute. And I'm not a mind reader, but I can say that all of us want to be in the Maharas. Raise your hand if you don't want to be. We all want that Maharas bliss, so we have to pay special attention to Samartha Rati. We have to learn to be so selfless that we focus only on the happiness of Sri Krishna and our Gurudev. That's it, nothing more. Sri Maharaji was preparing us for this. He spent all his life preparing people to receive this, the bliss of the Maharas. Sri Maharaji would say to those who wish to live in the ashram, Sri Maharaji would say, I welcome you into the ashram, you can stay here, but on one condition, and that is that you will do the seva that I give to you. You cannot dictate to me what you want to do. Maharaji, I like reading books, so I'd like to be working in the library, doing seva with books, in the library. And Sri Maharaji said, you will work in the office, you will write the receipts. You're not reading, but you're writing, and you're writing the receipts, issuing receipts. Because you do not dictate to your guru what pleases you. That means you are the master, he's the servant. You, Gurudev, should allow me to do this. You should give me this seva. That means we are dictating to our guru. He is the master, we are the servants, but then the situation is reversed. So the Samartha Rati gopis do not ever think of their own happiness. They just want the happiness of Sri Krishna. Sri Krishna says to Arjun, O Arjun, Nijangamapi ya gopyo mameti samupasate tabhya param na me partha nigudha prema bhajanam adi puran. O Parth, O Arjun, these gopis keep themselves alive only so that they may serve me. Their love is so great that they don't even love their bodies. They just maintain their bodies so that they may use their body as a vehicle through which they serve me. Other than that, they would not keep themselves alive. And these gopis, oh Arjun, you ask me what these gopis are to me. Arjun asked, Maharaj, you talk about these gopis so much. Ye gopiyan hain, aapki kya lagti hain? Who are they to you? What are they to you? And Shri Krishna said, you should rather ask what they are not to me. They are everything to me. Sahaya, Gurava, Shishya, Bhujishya, Bandhava, Striya, Satyam vadami te partha gopyah kim me bhavantina. Arjun, they are my helpers, my gurus. Your gurus? You are Jagat Guru. Krishna Mande Jagat Guru, we say. I bow down to Sri Krishna, the Guru of the entire world. And Jagat Guru Sri Krishna says, I think of the gopis as my gurus. They teach me what selfless love is all about. They are my helpers, they are my gurus, they are my disciples, they are my nearest and dearest, they are my kith and kin. They are everything to me. A complete relationship. And the best amongst those gopis are completely selfless. So there are married gopis and unmarried gopis. Shri Krishna deliberately inspired many of the gopis to get married because now there are restrictions on them. They cannot meet him any old time. And when there are restrictions, the gopi devises various methods of meeting with Sri Krishna, her beloved. This gopi, a gopi who's married, she has made a plan to see Shamsundar. So she gets up very, very early in the morning and she finishes all her tasks. And then she says to her mother-in-law, she says, Mataji, I am going out now to sell butter and buttermilk and curd that I have made. And the mother-in-law is very impressed with her daughter-in-law. What a good bahu I have. She's trying to supplement the family income by going out and selling. And so early in the morning, she's so hardworking. And the mother-in-law says, Jao bitti, jao, go. And the daughter-in-law, the gopi, goes, but she has a secret plan. She wants to see Shamsundar. And of all places she could go to, she goes to sell milk and buttermilk and curd and fresh butter. She goes and stands right in front of the palace of Nanda and Yashoda. Does she not know that they already have 900,000 cows? How much milk can they drink? How much milk can Kanhaiya and Balram, how much milk can these two boys drink? How much milk can the entire family consume? How much buttermilk? How much curd? And Yashoda is already extracting fresh butter for her own child. Although she has many maidservants, she says, no, I want to do this myself for my child. But the gopis go right there where there's no need for any of this. And she starts hawking her goods, as hawkers do. Makhan le lo, taza taza makhan le lo, meetha meetha dahi le lo. But soon the thoughts of her beloved Krishna consume her so much, and there are many other gopis who have all collected with the same plan. And they all are hawking their goods first, trying to sell butter, buttermilk, milk curd. But soon they go into a state of samadhi, prem samadhi. They go into a trance induced by extreme love for Shyam Sundar. And first they were saying, makhan le lo, doodh le lo, dahi le lo. But when they go into the state of samadhi, they changed what they were saying. And now they're saying, Madhav le lo, Mohan le lo, Govind le lo, Damodar le lo. They're selling Krishna. Vikretu kama khila gopa kanya murari padarpita chitta vritti dadhyadikam moha vashadavochat govinda damodar madhaveti. Govind le lo, Madhav le lo, Damodar le lo, because they're thinking only about Krishna, only about him. Oh Govind, oh Damodar, oh Madhav. And they're in a state of samadhi. Their eyes are fully open. This is the kind of samadhi in which your eyes are open, but your mind is fully absorbed in the beloved. And so what happens is that the pots of butter, buttermilk, and so on, they're so expertly balancing on their heads, they all fall down, crashing to the ground. They come crashing to the ground, and they mix with the dirt. And soon there is a wonderful, wet playground for Kanhaiya to play in. It's all a big mud puddle now. And inside the house, in the courtyard, Yashoda has placed little Kanhaiya there, who's still in the crawling stages. He's crawling on all fours. She has bathed him, put fresh clothes on him, and she has put him there to play. And he's crawling around, but when he hears the sounds of the gopis, his devotees, he reciprocates their love, because ye yatha mam prapadyante tans tathaiva bhajamyaham. God loves, Shri Krishna says, I love the devotee in the same way, with the same intensity, with the same sentiment as the devotee loves me. So he reciprocates their love and their longing, and he immediately props himself up, using his stomach and his arms and the strength of his legs. He crosses the threshold with great difficulty, and he comes outside. And he starts splashing around in that mud puddle. Outwardly, he's a child who is playing in the mud. Inwardly, he's the Supreme Lord who wants the foot dust of his greatest devotees, the gopis. So now, as he's doing this, the gopis have their darshan, they can touch him. And Yashoda, now being a mother, she thinks it's gotten very quiet in the courtyard, in the angan. And she rushes to the courtyard to see him missing. He's gone. So she sees the door open. The door was open, but he can't really get out, but he did. She rushes outside to see him playing in the mud. And she scolds him. She grabs hold of him, and she says, Idani mangamakshali rachitam chanulepanam idani mevate Krishna dhuli dhusaritam vapuh. Oh, Krishna. Oh, Kanhaiya, look at what you've done to yourself. I gave you a bath just half an hour ago, and look at you. You've gotten into so much, you're covered with mud. And she says, it seems to me, looking at you, enjoying yourself in the mud, it seems to me that you were a pig in your last life. And hearing this, Shyam Sundar, little Kanhaiya, he smiles internally, doesn't smile outwardly because he's in trouble. He smiles inwardly, thinking of his Varaha avatar. That indeed, I took the form of a wild boar. Mother is right. Maya is right. I was a pig in my last life. So anyhow, the gopis have come and they have received his darshan, they have received his touch. This is how they find excuses to come out of the house. Another married gopi, she is thinking, she's praying to Kanhaiya, "Oh Kanhaiya, I want to feed you butter that I have churned for myself, but I cannot come outside, so why don't you come to my house and you accept this offering?" So the Antaryami, the omniscient Krishna, he goes very playfully to her house. He makes a scheme, he plans with his friends, and they plan to raid the pantry, and the storehouse, I should say. And then, as you know, that they make a pyramid, and then Kanhaiya's at the top because he's too short to reach up there. So there's a pyramid being made, and then he's at the top of the pyramid, and he gets to the pot of butter that is there, and he is eating the butter so happily. And just then, the gopi comes in, and all the boys run away, leaving Kanhaiya suspended in midair, holding on to that handi, the handi, holding on to that pot of butter and curd. And the gopi has choicest words for him. She gets him down, and he's in trouble, and she says, "I am going to march you to your mother's place." And she tells her mother-in-law, "I'm going to take this mischievous boy to his parents' place, and I will make sure that he's chastised for this." And so there's no problem. You go, and yes, you should do this. So she gets to spend time with him. She gets his touch because she's holding on to him, making sure he doesn't slip away because he's very slippery in both ways, very tricky. And his hands are covered with butter and so on. So he's very slippery. She's holding on to him so he doesn't run away. And in this way, these married gopis, they have darshan of Sri Krishna. They have the touch of Sri Krishna. One such gopi, she was by the Yamuna River. All the other gopis are there too, but the elders are also there. And this gopi thinks, Kanhaiya is there. My beloved Shyamsundar is there. Now, you may wonder, he was just a little kid. How could she think of him as her beloved? The question comes into the logical mind. But Sri Krishna used to change his age. In front of the gopi, he would look like he was her age, or he was 16 years of age. He wasn't a little child. Because Sri Krishna left the gopis. He left Vrindavan when he was 11 and a half years of age. How can you love even an 11-year-old as a beloved? But Sri Krishna didn't look like that to them. He would change himself. He would become bigger. He would become older. So the gopis would think of him as a beloved. So the gopi thought, I want the touch of my beloved. But how? So she goes into the water. This is her plan. She goes into the water. She goes a little bit deeper. And although she's an excellent swimmer, but she pretends to drown. Bachao, bachao, bachao. Help, 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 she yells out. And Kanhaiya is ever ready to help. So he jumps in after her and he rescues her. And in this way, Sri Krishna gives darshan and his divine touch to his most excellent devotees. So the married gopis were the ones who went further in their love. They loved him even more because they had restrictions. They could not take him for granted. They could not take his association for granted. They could not take his touch for granted. And then there were the unmarried gopis. But married or unmarried, the fact is only the Samartha Rati gopis, only the ones who were completely selfless, could hear the sound of Krishna's flute when he played it on the magical midnight of the autumn season in Sharad Purnima, on the full moon night. They are the only ones who receive the nectar of the Maharas. Now, even when we talk about Madhurya Bhav and Samartha Rati, there are two moods. One is union and the other is separation. So Shri Krishna would deliberately give separation to these devotees. Because what happens in separation is that your love grows. The gopis would long for the beloved. I'll give you an example. Please wake up, wake up. Ladali Lal ki jai. So during the Maharas, Shri Krishna disappeared. There was a point when he disappeared. And then, after some time, he reappeared. I'm not giving you the details, it's not necessary. He disappeared, then he reappeared. And when he reappeared, the gopis asked him, "We love you so much, we longed for you. We could not remain one moment without you. We looked for you everywhere. Why did you leave?" And he said, "It was very important to give you separation." And Shri Krishna has put it this way. He said, think about a man who was born in abject poverty. So poor. He was so poor that he cannot even have he cannot afford even one decent meal for himself. And then one day he becomes a multimillionaire. He wins a big lottery and he becomes a multimillionaire. And now he has so much luxury. He's living in luxury. But then one day he loses it all. Someone cleverly steals all that money from him. And now he's back to being poor. This man is going to think about the money that he never had and that he got one day and then he lost. He cannot help but think about that money he has lost, and that's all he thinks about. He doesn't think now about the times when he couldn't afford slippers on his feet. He thinks, oh, the time I had wearing designer shoes and designer clothing. I had so many cars, I had a fleet of cars. He thinks about that wealth he had and that he has now lost. So, O gopis, you were deprived of my divine love for countless lives. And then I gave it to you in the form of Maharas. And then I went away from there. In my separation, you thought about me each and every moment. They said, yes, we did. To intensify your love, I separated myself from you. And that is why. Not that I was not mindful of how much you love me and how much you miss me, because I love you in the same way as you love me, said Sri Krishna, but I wanted your love to increase further. I wanted it to be even more pure. I wanted it to grow in intensity. So we must also, when we do sadhana, as we engage in Madhurya Bhav devotion, we should also go into Virah Bhav more often than Milan Ka Bhav. More often than thinking I'm with him, we should think he is nowhere to be seen. I cannot see him, I cannot hear him. That Virah is very important for us. This is why in Prem Ras Madira, there are 21 sections. And the 1008 devotional songs contained here are divided into those 21 sections. And the section that has the maximum amount of devotional songs, over 200, belong to Virah Madhuri, the bliss of separation from Shri Krishna. It is for this reason. So, Jagatguru Uttam Shri Kripaluji Maharaj inspires us to regard the gopis as role models. But the gopis who are completely selfless, Shri Maharaji has said, do not go below Samartharati. Always aim for the top. And to conclude, I would like for us to sing one of Maharaji's compositions from Prem Ras Madira. This is Milan Madhuri, number 23. It's about the gopis and how one gopi has the plan to see Shyam Sundar, to have his darshan, and what she has done. I've explained it. I told you about this in my talk, but now let's sing it. The words will be projected on the screens. Dadhi bechan braj ki baam, haan baam. Dadhi bechan braj ki baam chali.
Dadhi bechan braj ki baam, Dadhi bechan braj ki baam chali.
Dadhi bechan braj ki baam, haan baam. Dadhi bechan braj ki baam chali.
Dadhi bechan braj ki baam, haan baam. Dadhi bechan braj ki baam chali.
मटकी शीश धरी रसमाती,
मटकी शीश धरी रसमाती,
मटकी शीश धरी रसमाती.
मटकी शीश धरी रसमाती.
पहुँची सब हाँ पहुँची सब नंदगाम, नंदगाम. दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली.
पहुँची सब नंदगाम, नंदगाम. दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली.
दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम. दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली.
दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम. दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली.
नंद द्वार भई जुरी ठाढ़ी जहाँ,
नंद द्वार भई जुरी ठाढ़ी जहाँ,
नंद द्वार भई जुरी ठाढ़ी जहाँ.
नंद द्वार भई जुरी ठाढ़ी जहाँ.
नवलख धेनु ललाम, हाँ ललाम. दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाजू चली.
नवलख धेनु ललाम, हाँ ललाम. दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली.
दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम. दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली.
दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम. दधी बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली.
लोको दही टेर भूली कहा,
दही तेर भूली कहा.
लोको दही टेर भूली कहा.
दही तेर भूली कहा.
लोको हाँ लोको सुंदर श्याम, हाँ श्याम. बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
आलोको सुंदर श्याम आश्याम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
आलोको सुंदर श्याम आश्याम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
आलोको सुंदर श्याम आश्याम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
लखी बेहाल ब्रज बाल लाल तहाँ।
लखी बेहाल ब्रज बाल लाल कहाँ।
लखी बेहाल ब्रज बाल लाल तहाँ।
लखी बेहाल ब्रज बाल लाल कहाँ।
आए तजी, हाँ आए तजी निज धाम, निज धाम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
आए तजी निज धाम, निज धाम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
आए तजी निज धाम, निज धाम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
आए तजी निज धाम, निज धाम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
दधि बेचत हरि मिलहि कृपालुहि।
दधि बेचन हरि मिलहि कृपालुहि।
दधि बेचत हरि मिलहि कृपालुहि।
दधि बेचत हरि मिलहि कृपालुहि।
एक पंथ, हाँ एक पंथ दो काम, दो काम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
एक पंथ दो काम, दो काम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम, हाँ बाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
ओ मटकी शीश धरी रसमाती।
मटकी शीश धरी रसमाती।
पहुँची सब नंदगाम, नंदगाम दधि बेचन ब्रज की बाम चली।
पहुँची सब नंदगाम, नंदगाम दधि बेचन
चली।
नव लख धेनु ललाम अललाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
ओ लोको दही टेर भूली कहा,
लोको दही देर भूली कहा।
लोको सुंदर श्याम श्याम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
लोको सुंदर श्याम श्याम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
लखी बेहाल ब्रज बाल लाल तहाँ,
लखी बेहाल ब्रज बाल लाल तहाँ।
आए तजी निज धाम धाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
आए तजी निज धाम दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
दधि बेचत हरि मिलहि कृपालु ही,
दधि बेचत हरि मिलहि कृपालु ही।
एक पंथ दो काम दो काम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
एक पंथ दो काम दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम वाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम वाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम वाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम वाम, दधि बेचन ब्रज की वाम चली।
बोलिए गोपी जन वल्लभ श्याम की जय, वृंदावन बिहारी लाल की जय, रासेश्वरी राधा रानी की जय, श्रीमद् सद्गुरु सरकार की जय। बोलिए प्रेम रस मदिरा की जय। जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री राधे, जय जय श्री